Hello, today we're talking about submission to God. It's really great to see you all again. Our Bible passage is taken from James chapter, what chapter is it, Anu? James chapter 4, verse 1 to 12. Let's listen to it.
Everyone likes to show off what they have accomplished. We all want to proudly say, I built that. I bought that flashy car. I married that beauty queen. I built that empire all by myself. Yeah, I did that and this and that. But are we really ever satisfied with our accomplishments? Soon that car becomes outdated. Then you meet a prettier young lady. Then recession kicks in and the empire that you built crumbles, and you start all over again. I like the way the Holy Bible puts it. Let's read James 4, 1 through 17. What is the cause of your conflicts and quarrels with each other? Doesn't the battle begin inside of you as you fight to have your own way and fulfill your own desires? You jealously want what others have, so you begin to see yourself as better than others. You scheme with envy and harm others to selfishly obtain what you crave. That's why you quarrel and fight. And all the time you don't obtain what you want because you won't ask God for it. Let's pause here a bit. What? That's not me. I don't happen anyone. I'm just trying to get mine. Really? Then what did you just do when you broke that girl's heart? When you lied to get more pocket change than usual from your dad, telling him lies about some books your teacher asked you to buy? Girls, what about the endless gossiping about the new gal in school and her strange way of dressing? Let's read on. And if you ask, you won't receive it, for you're asking with corrupt motives, seeking only to fulfill your own selfish desires. You have become spiritual adulterers who are having an affair, an unholy relationship with the world. Don't you know that flirting with the world's values places you at odds with God? Whoever chooses to be the world's friend makes himself God's enemy. Oh, come on now. You're just getting too serious. How has getting mine made me a spiritual adulterer? Well, look at it this way. Remember when Jesus said that no one can serve two masters? He either leaves one and sticks with the other? Exactly. You cannot serve God and serve the world. To serve God, you have to obey His commandments and exhibit the good virtues and the fruits of the Spirit. When you come to church, worship God, and then go back to your old ways from Monday to Friday, forgetting all that you were taught in church, you are a spiritual adulterer and God's enemy. Let's read on. Does the scripture mean nothing to you that says the Spirit that God breathed into our hearts is a jealous lover who intensely desires to have more and more of us? But He continues to pour out more and more grace upon us. For it says, God resists you when you are proud, but continually pours out grace when you are humble. So then, surrender to God. Stand up to the devil and resist him, and he will turn and run away from you. Move your heart closer and closer to God, and He will come even closer to you. But make sure you cleanse your life, you sinners, and keep your heart pure and stop doubting. Feel the pain of your sin, be sorrowful and weep. Let your joking around be turned into mourning, and your joy into deep humiliation. Be willing to be made low before the Lord, and He will exalt you. It doesn't make sense, right? Why be made low so that you can be lifted up? Well, look at it this way. If you want something from a queen, the king, the president, or the prime minister, You go to them in all humility. You do not approach them with pride and demand what you want, right? If you did that, you would get thrown out immediately. Dear friends, as part of God's family, never speak against another family member, for when you slander a brother or sister, you violate God's law of love. And your duty is not to make yourself a judge of the law of love by saying that it doesn't apply to you, but your duty is to obey it. There is only one true lawgiver and judge, the one who has the power to save and destroy. So who do you think you are to judge your neighbor? Now here is something that you need to be very careful about. We are often too quick to judge others and insist that others are wrong while we are right. Look in the mirror first and see the monster you have quickly become when you make a habit of judging others. You are trying to get a wood speck out of the eyes of others, but you have a huge log in your own eyes. Listen, those of you who are boasting. Today or tomorrow we'll go to another city and spend some time and go into business and make heaps of profit. But you don't have a clue what tomorrow may bring. For your fleeting life is but a warm breath of air that is visible in the cold only for a moment and then vanishes. Instead, you should say, our tomorrows are in the Lord's hand, and if He is willing, we will live life to its fullest and do this or that. But here you are, boasting in your ignorance, for to be presumptuous about what you'll do tomorrow is evil. So if you know of an opportunity to do the right thing today, yet you refrain from doing it, you're guilty of sin.
Just read James chapter 4, verses 1 to 17. Today, the focus really is on James chapter 4, verse 1 to 12. And next week, we will be rounding up with verses 13 to 17. Paul again talked about Jesus this way in the book of Hebrews chapter 5. Hebrews chapter 5, let's read it very quickly. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 5. It says, in the same way, Christ did not take on himself the glory of becoming a priest. But God said to him, you are my son. Today I have become your father. And it says in another place, you are a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek. Now let's look at Jesus specifically, because he's a perfect example of submission. You know, I look at Paul and then I wonder personally, this guy set such a high bar for us. You know, being thrown in jail, beaten up and down, but yet just going on and telling the people, you have seen all my suffering. And in all the suffering, I have learned to be content. You know, going through shipwrecks, but still preaching the gospel, being beaten up in towns, but going back into the same towns to preach again. Perfect submission. But who was he going after? He was going after Jesus. Now, here's what Paul said about Jesus in Hebrews chapter 5, verse 7. During the days of Jesus' life on earth, he offered up prayers and petitions with fervent cries and tears to the one who could save him from death. And he was heard because of his reverent submission. You can underline that. I like highlighting my Bible when I'm reading. I want you to learn to do the same thing. Son though he was, he learned obedience from what he suffered. And once made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation for all who obey him. And he was designated by God to be high priest in the order of Melchizedek. Many of us struggle with submitting to God. So, let's answer the question, why should I submit to God? The answer is this. There are only two masters, God and the devil. You submit to one. You refuse to submit to God, then you belong to the devil. You submit to God, then you can resist the devil and he will flee from you. There is no other way. There is nothing in between. So, have a lovely and a wonderful Sunday. Bye for now.